Uh, Okay, so we are happy that you can join us this evening again for our series. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story, and this chapter that we just started not too long ago, like 3 weeks ago, is my story, my journey to America. We are happy that our guest today is here with us, Elisa, and we're gonna hear about her journey. And we know that we all have a path that God has already made for us. So we have to go through it. Sometimes we make our own plans, but it's not God's plan. Our plan is not God's plan. So God has a plan for us. He has a way for us, and we just have to follow it. And then we will realize that at one point that our dream or childhood dreams and everything that we had planned sometimes don't usually go the way we expected them to go. It's just because we are not the one leading our way to life. So we are happy once again to welcome you this evening. And we're gonna start right now, but before we do so, we're gonna ask Paula to do the opening prayer for us, and she will be leading right after. Thank you and welcome again. Paula, can you open your camera? We don't see you. Thank you.
Hello, can you guys hear me? My camera's on. Let me see if I turn it off and turn it back on. Ah, hello. Okay, without further ado, let's bow our heads and close our eyes. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for waking us up this morning and allowing us to enjoy the Sabbath with you so far, as we're about to not only wrap up the Sabbath, but fellowship with one another. I ask that you please be with us in this event. Help us to learn more about how you can move in our lives, especially through the story of Eliza. Forgive us for all of our sins. Thank you for everything you've done, everything you will do. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen. Paula, you have the mic and you may lead. We welcome our guest, Elisa, and we want Elisa to have her camera on as well, so we can continue with this. Good evening, Elisa. Good evening, Paula.
Good evening.
Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
Hello, Paula. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. You know, it's been a week, but we made it.
We did it.
I'm excited to get to know you more. I know we've been in contact or communication here and there, but we don't really get the chance to really dig deep in like our history and our story. So thank you so much for volunteering and using this platform to tell us more about who you are and how you got here in the US.
Yes, I'm happy to be here and I'm glad that you guys asked me to do this. So
okay. Without further ado, we'll get this interview started. If there's anything that, feel free to just be as transparent as you'd like at your liberty. The floor is yours. You don't have to disclose anything you don't feel comfortable with disclosing. And if there's anything you want to make sure that you share, feel free to. So this is just going to be more of a casual conversations between two people. But, you know, as we begin, just a little introduction about your name, where you're from, and how long you've been in the US.
Sure. So my name is Elisa Doismar. I'm from Haiti. I was born and raised there for about 14 to 15 years of my life. And I have been living in the US now for 11 years and a half. It has been that long.
I'm embarrassed. I thought it was shorter. Okay. Okay, 11 years and a half. And how old are you?
I am 26. Yes, it's a surprise for everyone. So
What? Okay, so are you in school right now?
not right now.
Oh, okay, okay. So what inspired you to move to the US?
So well, basically, I moved because of the earthquake that happened
Oh,
there.
okay.
So that was one of the reasons I moved.
Okay. And did you know anyone in the States prior to you moving?
Yes, we had family living there. It was my first time in Boston, but my mom has families living like all over the US.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
So what
that
made you want to come to the beautiful Boston, the lovely Boston?
yes, the cold Boston.
I don't want to be disrespectful in case there are people here who love Boston, but we're both on the same page here.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So my mom has a close family who live in Boston. Actually, they used to live just near the church.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so so they invited us to just come over after everything that happened. So they just invited us to go to Boston.
Okay. And how did you feel like leaving? And I know like we've all been intact and impacted in some way, shape, or form for those of you who are from Haiti by the earthquake. But how did you feel moving a land that you've grown up, like you literally call it home, to come to this unknown land of Boston, Massachusetts?
Well, actually I was excited because
Okay.
I've traveled before with my family when I was younger. So ever since, I've dreamed of living here. So I've always wanted to come and live here. I don't know where, I was young, but like Boston was like my first time, my first experience. So I was not, I don't know, I wouldn't say I was scared, but I was excited because
Okay,
I was
awesome.
leaving, I was leaving all of the stress behind.
Um,
I remember the day when I was leaving. I remember just, putting my head down because, the earthquake happened. There were a lot of, houses that collapsed and a lot of dead people that piled up on the street. So some of those places I never knew. I just had to, just cover my face and, you know,
wow.
just yeah, go to the airport. So I was leaving all of the stress and the problems behind, but excited to just start a new journey.
Yeah, so definitely a new chapter in life.
Yeah, yeah.
Unforeseen and due to unfortunate circumstances, but it sounds like you try to make the best of it, and be bright-eyed while entering this cold weather.
Yes.
So what aspirations or dreams did you have when you first came to the US? Like, actually, before I ask that, what did you want to be when you grew up? And I hate that question, honestly, because when we're kids, we want to be everything. But what's that one thing you just like, oh, I can't wait till I'm old enough so I can be this?
So I had many things, but like the one like yeah, I want to say serious professional career is I've always wanted to be in the medical field,
Mhm.
and I kept that. I'm still pursuing that dream.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So, with that in mind, do you see yourself, I guess, well, I don't want to jump too ahead because I was going to talk about your future, but let's talk about the now. Do you mind me asking, like, what are you up to now?
Oh, right now I am in the medical field. I'm
Oh,
trying to make my way up. Yes, I'm not where I want to be,
yeah,
but I'm climbing up there.
awesome. And do you find it, sorry?
Oh, I said by God's grace.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice. And do you find that this ladder that you're climbing is easier to pursue with you being here, or do you think the same sort of effort would have been applied if you were in Haiti?
That's a good question. It took me a while to be where I am right now, but if I was in Haiti, it would have been a bit easier.
Oh, I see. Is it because of like the language barrier or just the schooling or?
Um, well, for here, language, not really. I mean, I'm doing okay with the language.
You
But
should.
like, thank you. But like in Haiti, it would have been more easier because living here when you're an immigrant, there are things that like you have benefits to, that you have access to, and it's really competitive to get into these schools. But like if I was in Haiti, it would have been something different.
Yeah.
It would have been way easier.
Right. And did you know about, the competitiveness of like applying to schools and getting your foot through doors and stuff?
No, actually, I basically was learning as I go. So it was hard. I wish I knew, but yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. We should honestly, on behalf of the children who are offsprings of migrants from Haiti, I do apologize. We should, and I say this, I said this before, like I think we need to do our part in lifting up the youth who are coming from Haiti and just giving them a heads up of what's in store, especially being Black in this country, which we'll get to a little bit sooner.
yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine, just navigating these waters by yourself, or not by yourself, but like just, trying to figure out the road that you need to take without having any sort of map,
Yeah.
So with that being said, who was your support throughout this whole experience?
My family, my mom and dad, they really supported me
Yeah.
a lot.
Okay. And did you know did you know the with actually with us being young Black women in the country, did you know or heard of some sort of turmoil or the racial inequality that was happening in the country? Or was that also sort of like a mind-blowing experience for you?
It was mind-blowing. I've heard of racism, but like when I was growing up, but I didn't know in depth like how bad it was until like this past years, and even like being in school too, like during high school, I like heard a little bit of it, but I really saw a lot during this past 2 years.
Yeah. Man.
Growing.
No, I get it. And Eliza, you just seem like a very bright and positive soul. So I doubt that you thought, let me, pack up my bags and go back to Haiti. But like, was there any point where you just felt a little bit discouraged with everything going on in our country in regards to that?
To racism?
Yeah, racism, prejudice, or even your future, like raising your own children here.
I don't want to say discouraged, but I do think about it sometimes. I haven't really had any like racism problem like directly to me, but I've seen people who experienced it, and sometimes I think about it. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, why would I do if I was in their place, or like even in the future, if I have children, like how would I just cope with that? It's something that I'm still learning. So
yeah, and I hesitate to ask this because I myself am learning about this, and we're not too far in age, so I can't even, and like I don't even know how to answer this question that I'm about to ask, but like thinking further ahead in the timeline, right? You see yourself with children, and you have a family, a husband. What values or what lessons do you want to carry to your children? Both carried from the island of Haiti, but also things that you learned in the country. For example, I know my parents, my mom particularly drills in to me and Shirley the importance of knowing Haiti's history. And so me and Shirley, we know a good amount of what happened back in the island. But for you, what do you think that you would be, sharing with your family?
I definitely will do that as well. I don't want to forget where I come from, where I was born, and I'm definitely gonna teach my kids that, okay, you are Haitian and this is this and that. So I'm gonna make sure I drill it in their heads as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there one thing that you'd like to share with fellow you would be considered a millennial. So is there anything you'd like to share with fellow millennials who were born here, but don't necessarily have that direct ties as to, in comparison to you back in Haiti?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and there's a reason why I asked that, because there are some conversations I've had in the past where, some of them wish that we were more approachable, or some of them wish that we spoke Creole better. But like, in your opinion, what would you tell me?
So like Haitians in general, or
Haitians in general. Let's specifically talk about it.
So I would just say, to I guess appreciate being Haitian, and like to go back to the roots and try to understand.
Wow.
Or I would say, because there is a different, even though you and I are Haitian, but like it's different being born here and in the US and being born in Haiti. So there's a little bit of difference. I guess I would say just learn from them, just like I'm learning from the American Haitian culture.
Right. Okay. I have two more questions for you, and then we'll open it up to the floor.
Sure.
The first question I have for you is, who did you leave behind? And I know you said that you came here as a result of the earthquake, but is there anyone that you feel kind of sad about leaving back on the island, and who you miss and wish you still had contact with, or you probably still have contact with, but that relationship being in person is a little bit different?
Yes, that's a good question. Coming here, I had to leave my dad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Also a very close aunt that we have. So they're still living there. So yeah, sometimes I wish they were there, but my dad especially, he left. I mean, he stayed in Haiti for a specific reason.
Okay. And do you picture yourself visiting Haiti at any point?
Not right now.
I understand. But I hear you. But if in positive thinking, if things start to improve on the island, would you see yourself going back and visiting, Lavadie, or like Port-au-Prince, or Jacmel, or where are you from? Sorry.
Port-au-Prince.
Oh, okay.
Yes, definitely. I do see myself visiting those places, especially, I never really had a chance to go there. So I really want to go back and I would say learn some things too, because I came here young. So there are some things that I don't know, places that I don't know. So I'm ready to
Wow.
things get stable.
Yeah. So I like how you said that there is still more for you to learn in your home country, both in Haiti, but also in the States. And so I think that's very important, that we need to just keep our minds open, because like we mentioned in the other segment or session, episode, show, tell us your story about your name. For me, part of what I shared was that the world was my oyster, and that there's so much to experience out there. And I like how you're accepting the fact that you're open to more things out there. You're not limiting yourself with just one sort of mindset. So I think that's so important. Last question. Sorry, I did say, okay, so this is my last question. Picture yourself looking at your future children or students, or young people who are looking up to you for advice, and they're in the same shoes as you. What would you tell them?
Are you coming for are you talking about newcomers?
Yes, newcomers. So it wouldn't necessarily be your children, but say, for example, you're talking to people who were in your shoes coming to America. What advice, or what would you give them or tell them as words of encouragement or advice, coming into America?
Sure. So I would categorize my answer into two groups, like the children and then the like the older adults. So like the first thing in general for both of them, I would say to make God your best friend, because it's not as easy as some people may make it sound. It's not. So really make God your best friend, because you really need him for guidance. You know, you're going in, you're starting, it's like you're starting a new life, you know.
Yeah.
With the language itself, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
The culture and everything. So you really need a lot of guidance. So for the kids, you know, who came or who are just like me, so I would say just take advantage of every opportunity. Just learn as much as you can. Don't look down on certain things, because you don't know where you're gonna end up with, and then you're gonna use it later on. Okay. For the older generation, sometimes it can be very hard for them, because, you know, most of them would already had a career back home. So coming here, a lot of them have to start over, or they can't continue with what, you know, they used to work at or used to study. So for them, it's just to take it easy and try to cope with the culture a little bit, and try to go with the flow a little bit, because it's really not easy. So I have seen that with some older adults, and I see them struggling with that. So I would encourage them to just change their mindsets a little bit and try to go with the flow, because the reason why they move here is, you know, to get a better life. So yeah, that's my advice.
Awesome. That's beautiful advice. And thank you for sharing your story. I know that was a bit, you know, a very condensed version. You're 26. That's 26 years that
Yes.
you would have to break down, but I feel like I definitely know you a bit more. And I'm sure our audience has some questions that they'd like to ask you. So I will open the floor to anyone who wants to ask the beautiful Eliza any questions. My chat's loading. Okay.
It's Shirley.
Oh, hello, Shirley.
Hi. And is it Elisha or Alicia? Sorry, I just want to clear.
No problem.
It's Eliza.
Elisa.
Elisa, that's what I heard. I'm like, what is Perla saying?
Don't worry, my name gets butchered every day.
Elisa.
I'm used to it.
I love it. Hi, Elisa. I loved your story. Thank you so much for sharing. I had a question for you, and now as I'm talking, I'm trying to remember what exactly I was trying to ask. Sorry, give me 1 second. Oh, I didn't remember. So what surprised you the most when you came here? Or like, what was the thing that, you know, in school or just in the daily life that surprised you the most?
Okay. One of the things that was surprising to me is my whole life, like from kindergarten to the point where I left Haiti, I've always attended a 7-day Adventist school. So my first day of school here, it was a bit different. The reason why is because back home, every time a teacher would start a class, he or she would have the class rise and sing a song, like one stanza, say a verse, you know, either something toi or something else, and then have a prayer. Either the teacher would pray, or he would choose one of the students to pray. So my first day of school here, I was expecting that. So that was very, very strange to not have that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It went to a public school?
Yes, I went to a public school. Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely different. They don't do no prayer in the beginning.
No prayer. I was expecting that.
Yeah.
Did they do the Pledge of Allegiance with you?
They did.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
Sorry, Shirley, did I cut you off?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. Well then, yeah. Actually, growing up, our last tell us your story, or my journey. The Miss Middleton used to be my teacher at Berea, and we would do the same exact thing where they would have us sing, pray, do all these exercises before we even got into the actual work at hand. So I definitely could relate to that. I did want to ask something. You mentioned that your advice to the younger kids was take advantage of every opportunity. And I wanted to ask if there are some opportunities that you felt you've experienced or was open to while you were in the States that you don't think you would have been exposed to back in Haiti? And if so, can you give us an example?
Do you mind rephrasing that question again?
Okay, I got it. Yep. You said earlier that your advice to the younger children would be to take advantage of every opportunity. And so my question to you is, do you feel like you've experienced or have accepted opportunities in your personal life while being in America that you probably wouldn't have been exposed to or had the opportunity to take on if you were back in Haiti?
Okay, got it. I would say working.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things I like it is how young teenagers can actually have a job. In Haiti, not so much. I mean, kids can do something on the side, but like to work, at a facility or at a place, we don't really have that. So I really took advantage of that opportunity, and I've worked, at several places, food places or stores, or like, I don't know, it was a bunch of places. So I did not look down on like what I was doing, but I looked up to the experiences that I was getting, and it's helping me to this day. So
Yeah, okay. I like that. Like nothing is beneath you. Like you're really just walking into any opportunity, head held high, you know that you're a good worker and you're learning something from it that will propel you to the next step. I love that. I think someone raised their hand. Was it Perrette? Perrette, did you raise your hand?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so we'll have Perrette go, and then someone else raised their hand.
It's Shirley.
Oh, Shirley. Okay, so Shirley and then Perrette.
Shirley first.
Oh, me first or mom first?
Sorry. Perrette first, then Shirley.
Okay. Thank you. Well, Elisa, I am so happy that we had you this afternoon as one of the Tabitha sisters' daughter to present. This is very interesting, and I'm very proud of you. And I really like your story and how you. I can tell that you are a very positive person, optimistic, because you just like see you don't see what's going on now, you see where you're going. And this is I applaud you for that. And I have two questions that I'm gonna ask at once. When Paula asked if you want to go, if you would like to go back to Haiti, you say not right now. I just wanted to know the reason. Is it because of the how things are going right now, or is it because you don't miss it that much yet, or whatever? This is the first part of the story. And the second one is, while you were on your way to the airport, you say that at one point you had to cover your eyes because of all the result of the earthquake, dead people on the street and all of these things. And I know this kind of stuff can bring emotional distress in people. So when you came here, do you think that you received all the support, emotional support that you you are either expecting or maybe deserving, because we're not gonna just like say that, okay, I'm here, you're supposed to give it to me, but what they offered to you.
Okay. The first question. Sorry, what was it again?
Why you don't want to go to back to Haiti now if you had to?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the reason is because of what's happening now. I do miss Haiti. I miss a lot of things, because I left unexpectedly. It wasn't planned. So I do miss a lot of things. So I don't want to go back now because of what's happening. All right, and then the second question, you said if I received enough emotional support.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't think I did. Maybe I learned to just cope with it, but I can tell you that I'm still kind of traumatized about that earthquake. Like, for example, like sometimes I can be home and I can hear like a big truck passing by and then it shakes, the apartment a little bit. That takes me back to January 12th. But emotionally, I don't think I ever really got support for that.
Yeah, that is something that I know a lot of people did not get, and then because of that, like you said, this is what it's just like an ongoing thing that you have to deal with. And then when you heard the news of the most recent earthquake, what impact did that have on you?
It was kind of hard to believe, but then because of the way I heard it, I was sitting at church when they mentioned it, but then afterwards I was thinking about it and it kind of took me back to that moment, and I was kind of like replaying in my mind like that day, what I was doing, where I was, and how I got to stay alive, how God saved me from that earthquake. So
I know it's not emotionally, I didn't want to just ask questions to to bring you back there, but I know this is the reality. But because I know my mommy was in Haiti at that time, and I have my older sister and her children. I'm saying that because what you said about the house being shaken, when it was like a year or so after that, after the earthquake, we went to see my mom in Canada, and one of my nephew who was in Haiti at that time. We were just walking close to the apartment building where my mom lives. I can tell that he was traumatized just by looking at it. He's like, "Where is grandma living? She lives all the way in there. What if? What if?" And then you can tell that he's just like a little scared of getting in to the building. So I know a lot of people are dealing with these things. And then because it's an ongoing thing, I don't want to be the only one talking, but I just want to know if you, since you are interested in the medical field, if you want to, or have you thought about like going that way, or is there a specific thing in the medical field that you are interested in?
I haven't thought about making like, are you talking about mental health like type of career?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't thought about making it as part of my career, but I have been interested into learning more about mental health lately. So it's something I'm still thinking about.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. We have Shirley. You had a question, and then I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. So my question was, you said that you came here in your early teens, it was, Elisa?
Yes.
So is there, because I know that's like teenage years and you're going into your 20s, was there someone that helped you navigate through things like your teenage years and 20s, like a mentor that you leaned on, or you kind of just navigated everything on your own here?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think I had a mentor. Pretty much I was going with the flow.
Wow. Like not even a friend or
Well, I had friends, but
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
guess we never really talked about things like these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a great job. Like keep up the good work, keep reaching for the stars. You got this.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you.
Yeah, we're definitely all navigating our lives, especially in our 20s. It is okay not to have things figured out. And I know that,
Yep.
especially being, from the island, there's like this untold pressure to have your life ready, to have a family and, be a mom. I should be ready to be a grandmother right now, but look at me. Anyways, but I do want to ask this question, and it could be a fun question, and I say this because I have a story behind it, but this question is, what was your first job? And I'll start, if just to make everyone comfortable. My first job was working in sanitation in college. Basically, I was the janitor. And a funny story with that is that I remember I was mopping the floors in the hallway at the cafeteria. And I don't know if anyone knows Iveldi. I'm going to put her on blast today. So I was mopping the floors. I was so dedicated, so focused to shining these floors. Like you were saying, every opportunity, every experience is just another leg up for the next one, right? So that's the mentality Perla had. And as she was thinking about her future, she hears Iveldi's name. Iveldi called Perla's name out loud. So I'm pretty sure all the cafeteria knew my name, right? And then she's like, Perla, is that you? And I'm like, yes, it is me. And then she just starts laughing at me and walks away. Yes, I told her, I told the story, I'm putting her on blast, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. And it's not even about me, but hopefully it does make you a little bit comfortable, sharing what your first job was. Even if I didn't even need to share that tidbit about her.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my first job, I think I was 17. It was at a Dunkin' Donut.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were on the drive-through, or were you making the actual stuff?
No, actually, there was no drive-through. I was pretty much doing everything. The drinks, the sandwiches. I did not bake. Someone else was responsible for that. So I did like all of the wraps and sandwiches. I closed.
What?
I open. So I pretty much did everything, like cash register.
Elisa, wait a minute. Do you know how to make a caramel? Do you know how to make a caramel swirl with almond milk, no ice?
I don't know if we had that when I worked there, but I did like everything, every drink.
Okay.
Everything.
Wow. I kind of wish I knew how to make some of those things because I'm kind of a coffee addict. But question in the chat. What do you love most about being in the USA? Yes. Okay. What do you love most about being in the USA?
What I love the most? Well, I like the opportunities. I like how you can just take everything and then you can turn it into, I would say, a career, or like you make a living out of it. I'm always on YouTube watching those people, and I'm amazed to see like they can just, like, when YouTube itself is a job. I'm like, oh my goodness.
they could just post about their life and that's money.
Yes. Yeah. So I really like that. Like there's opportunities. It's just knowing how to land on it, like where to grab it and what you like, choose what you like, and then make something out of it. So yeah.
Hey, very nice. We have a question in the chat. It says, Did you give the first check to your mom?
Yes, I did actually. Not everything to my mom, but I think I shared it with, people I knew. So I did. I was so happy to get the job, so I did.
Oh man. Okay. Another question we have here is, would you choose another state to live in if you had a choice?
Maybe. And the reason why is because of the cold weather. Something in between, not too hot, not too cold, in between. But so far I'm liking Massachusetts, but except the high stormy days and all that, the negative 10-degree cold weather. That's what I don't like. But
Right.
I like everything else about it.
Well, actually, on that note, how was your first experience with winter in Boston?
Oh yeah, I can tell you about that. The first day I landed there, I was wearing my summer skirt, and I don't remember what I was wearing. It was a sandal and then a skirt and then a top. I came here in February, so I had no idea. I never experienced cold weather before, so we all came in our summer outfits, landed off the plane in the cold weather of February. So it was it was cold. It was cold.
It was like, boom, welcome to America.
Yes, just like that.
We have one more question in the chat, and it reads, let's see, how is the food?
How's the food? I stick to my Haitian food. Once in a while, I try to, I'm trying new things, but I go toward Haitian food. That's what I stick with.
We have Perrette raising her hand.
Hi again. So I'm thinking, well, I can relate because I came here in February just like you.
Oh.
And even though I was way older, I was Tola's age when I came here, a little younger. Tola's a little younger. So when I came here in February, we Haitian, we like to just like look nice.
Oh yes.
And yes, I had something light on me as well, but I just like suck it up because I'm like, okay, you gotta deal with it until I get to my uncle's place to get, then they help me fix myself. That's a good thing. So my question is, I know you said you left your dad in Haiti. So how do you cope with your dad being so far away from you?
At first it was very different because we've never really lived apart. It was very different. But we make sure that to stay in contact with him. Sometimes he comes over to visit, but it's still not the same because like sometimes there are things that I wish that he would be here to attend, and sometimes he can't make it because of his work. So I guess we try to make the best out of it. And as you saw, like when I got on, I was talking to him. So we make sure we talk to him, we video call him, and try to not leave everything out. We still keep him up to date with everything that's going on in our lives, but it's very different with him not being here.
Okay, I see. Thank you for answering my question and being open and help us understand you and through you the life of the young people that come after the earthquake. And I really appreciate that. We have we have friends, a lot of people in the audience. If they want to ask questions, they can continue to do it in the chat. they can also open their camera, raise their hands and do things like that. Right, Paula? Because we almost at the end.
We have a question in the chat. Where's my chat? Okay. It says, are there any friends that you're still in contact with? Are there any friends that you're still in contact with in Haiti, or is it just mainly your family?
Yes, I do have a couple of friends that I still talk to them, and yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna give a little bit more time, but if there aren't any more questions, Jeanette. Okay. Jeanette, you can ask your question.
Yes, hello, sorry. I was on mute. My question is, we all come here, except you, maybe Perla, that you were born here. We came here with the plan to go back to Haiti, maybe within the 5 years or something, because that was my plan to go back, but I'm stuck here. Did you have any plan like that when you first came here?
So I plan to live here and make my life and go back. No, I was young. Actually, I wanted to come and live here. So I don't know, maybe in the future, but it hasn't crossed my mind yet. I want to go back to visit, but I don't know about living.
Question in the chat. Jocelyn asked, do you have a picture from your first winter?
I probably do. Maybe it's somewhere.
It doesn't sound like the snow was something you wanted to keep in your memory forever. You just wanted to be like, get out, depart from me, Satan. I get it. Let's see. Any other question? Well, okay. I think what I'll do is that during our last English version of My Journey, My Story segment, Miss Middleton shared this verse with us, and I think it'll be a great way to wrap up this segment. Again, Elisa?
Sure.
Is that the correct way to pronounce your name?
Oh, I think you got it.
Oh, okay. Elisa.
Yes.
Yes, Perrette?
I'm sorry, I had to, before, because I see that you're gonna wrap up now.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask this question. Because the title is My Story, My Journey to America. And we know as Christians that when we are going about life, there are things that I said that at the beginning, there are things that we plan to do and then it doesn't happen the way we expected it to happen. So do you think so far everything you had planned, you had envisioned, I'm not talking about while you were still in Haiti, because once you get here 14, things have changed, but once you started thinking about your future while you're here, do you think that it's going the way you planned it, or you think that God is shaping it somehow to what He wanted to?
Yes. But I wish it could go the way I wanted it to, but it's not. As I said, it's taking me a while to get to where I want to, but somehow God is, making His way and, like swifting me over, and I'm on the journey. So it hasn't been the way I pictured it, because I like to plan things, and I like them when I plan something, it gets done the way I pictured it in my mind. It hasn't been that way, but I see God, putting His hand over things and trying to make things His way instead of my way.
Beautiful, beautiful. You were gonna say something, Perrette?
Oh, I say thank you. That's
Oh.
beautiful. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep calling you Perrette, by the way.
Excuse me.
Uh,
If you want to call my name the right way, please, because we did my name, the story behind my name, and my name is Perrette.
that's what I said. That's what I said.
Okay, right. Thank you.
That's what I said. That's what I said. But I feel like with that last note you said, Elisa, it does rain, or kind of nicely ties into the verse that Miss Middleton shared. It was in regards to, you know, the verse that she lives by. She originated from Guyana, yes. She originated from Guyana. And so she shared with us this verse I'm going to share with you and everyone on the phone, which probably could be a theme verse for this interview or event. It's from Micah 6, verse 6-8. And I'm going to read from the New Living Translation. And it reads, "What can we bring to the Lord? Shall we bring him burnt offerings? Should we bow before God Most High with offerings of yearling calves? Should we offer him thousands of rams and 10,000 rivers of olive oil? Should we sacrifice our firstborn children to pay for our sins? No, O people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this is what he requires of you, to do what's right, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." And that last verse, verse 8, I think it just nicely not only encourages, but reminds us what is more important. Yes, we're navigating our lives. Yes, we're trying to figure things out, you know, and there are times when all our ducks don't align as we would like, but I think this verse just definitely reminds us of what's important in this life, and which is to do what's right, you know, to love mercy and to walk humbly with God. But without further ado, again, Elisa, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, dealing with my shenanigans, and also answering any of the questions that we've had. But without further ado, I'll pass the mic to Perrette, so she can wrap us up.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes, the pleasure was all ours.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, everyone. We had a great time learning about Elisa and her experience here and everything that you shared with us. I am so glad we had you with us this evening. And on behalf of the Tabitha sisters, I would like to say thank you to everybody here. And we know we have this chapter just started. We had one English and one French, and today it was the second English version of it. So for the remaining of the month, we're gonna have like we have the English, the French one. We have 3 French ones coming up back to back. So the next 3 Sabbath that we have coming up, we're gonna have the ones in French. So if you are interested and you want to learn about our future presenters, please come and join us. It's always the same link and at the same time. All right. Thank you again for being with us. And since Pearl started it with a prayer, she's gonna close again with a prayer, so we can depart. And once again, thank you and have a good evening and bonne semaine. Have a blessed week because Sabbath is over. Thank you to all who asked questions and to all who say they are quietly and patiently listening to the story. And I hope everybody had a great time learning about you, Elisa.
Without further ado, let's bow our heads and close our eyes for the final prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity to use this platform to learn more about our dear sister, Elisa. I pray that what we've learned here from her journey and just from our dialogue and back and forth, that it encourages our listeners and those who may see this video, you know, that life is full of ups and downs, but we know for sure that you're with us throughout this whole experience. Help us to keep and remember Micah 6 verse 8 in our hearts, to love mercy, to walk righteously, and to walk humbly with you. As we're about to leave this platform, I ask that you be with each and every one of us. Help us to enjoy the weekend, this long weekend, if some of us are enjoying it, or have the pleasure of having a long weekend. And if not, help us to just take each day and really just embrace the love that you have for us. Forgive us for all of our sins once again. In your name I pray, amen.